From Malaysia, we flew north to Vietnam, to the sprawling, largest city in the country, Ho Chi Mihn City, commonly known as Saigon. We stayed in the old city center, District 1, just off a main road in a narrow, mid-rise apartment building, where everyone had to leave their shoes at the door and wear slippers inside the building, a first for us. Even though our alley was only a block long, it provided a wonderfully peaceful buffer from the city outside. If Saigon can be summed up in one word, it's chaos. Specifically, motorbike chaos. There are about 3.5 million motorbikes in the metropolitan area, 10 times the number of cars, and they are literally everywhere. At any given moment, a motorbike will be coming at you from one direction or another. And crossing any street is always an adventure, like a live-action game of Frogger. Motorbikes aside, our area was a wonderful place to stay. A beautiful forest park was a 10-minute walk away, as well as a huge indoor market. And at night, a nearby street turned into a bustling, walking market. Just north of us, on the edge of District 1, Banseo 46A was made globally famous by Anthony Bourdain for their eponymous dish, the Banseo Vietnamese rice pancake. Locally popular before Bourdain, their clients are multinational now, but plenty of locals still eat there. A bit farther north, the Jade Emperor Temple is a 110-year-old Taoist temple dedicated to their supreme deity, the Jade Emperor. Taoism originated in China, and temples are rare outside of China. But it was interesting to tour a different kind of temple. The new Loc Thi Nghê Canal forms the northern border of District 1. The cool breezes off the water, along with a shaded promenade, provided a welcome relief from Saigon's heat. Tour boats are available, mainly for evening cruises. Just south of the canal, another place and face featured by Anthony Bourdain, Nguyen Thi Tan, the lunch lady, still has her corner stand, though she's added a branded pop-up tent. We had a delicious and filling lunch and bought her cookbook. Continuing around the canal, the Saigon Zoo and Botanical Gardens are the largest in Vietnam and have been operating for over 150 years. The zoo itself is inhumane and depressing, as most zoos are, so we're not going to cover it here. But the integrated gardens are worth the price of admission, about $2.50 US. Well maintained with some beautiful plants, the gardens are the second place we've ever seen a cannonball plant, or Nagalingam, after the Penang Botanical Gardens. Adjacent to the Botanical Gardens, the History Museum of Ho Chi Minh City presents a comprehensive view of Vietnamese archaeology and history that is as ancient and rich as anything found in Europe. Stone Age settlements have been found throughout the country, and their descendants live on in the over 20 indigenous tribes that are counted today. And during the period when Europe was enduring and recovering from the Bronze Age collapse, the Dong Son culture of northern Vietnam was growing and spreading throughout Southeast Asia. It was during this period that the Viet tribes were first annexed by Imperial China. The next 1,000 years saw a series of Vietnamese rebellions against different Chinese dynasties, some more successful than others. until finally a fully independent kingdom of Dai Viet was formed in 938. The kingdom of Champa consolidated most of southern Vietnam. The museum has large collections from these kingdoms and their predecessors, including several national treasures, which epitomize the origins of the Vietnamese culture and nation. But independence didn't bring an end to the conflicts with their northern neighbor. 2 wars were fought with the Song dynasty and 3 with the Mongols, who conquered China as the Yuan dynasty, including the Battle of Bac Dang River, considered one of the greatest military victories in Vietnamese history. Independence also brought wars with Champa that severely weakened the Viet state and allowed the Chinese Ming dynasty to annex them once again. But rebellion didn't stop, and in just 21 years, Dai Viet was again free, this time under the later Lê dynasty that would last 560 years. Though with dynastic infighting, territorial wars with Cambodian and Thai neighbors, another Chinese invasion, and the final conquest of Champa, it was not a peaceful reign. A fully united Vietnam was finally realized in 1802 under the Nguyen dynasty. This final Vietnamese dynasty would be colonized by the French and Japanese and finally end in 1945. Vietnam in the 19th and 20th centuries will be covered in future vlogs, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss our upcoming chapters on this fascinating and resilient nation that's full of natural beauty, amazing culture, and delicious, inexpensive food.